O e o halaulani o hoakale, me manu e kani nei ke kuahi, ke kualono.
Pahu mana mana o umi is my presentation for today. And I'm honored to be here to be able to share some ancestral knowledge with you today. I have my tools in my hand and I'm ready to go. And you know that I only have 20 minutes to do this. And so this is a lifetime of information in 20 minutes. So hang on and make sure you know what I'm talking about, because I have a test after this that I'm giving you. I'm a teacher, always will be a teacher, so I'm testing you. Pahu mana mana o umi. Pahu mana mana, by the way, say pahu. Mana mana o umi. Pahu mana mana is a instrument that our ancestors built, and it's an instrument of time, space, and location. Umi is the ali'i, or the chief, who is given credit for that instrument on my island, which is the island of Hawaii. And he built all of these instruments at the top part of our island, top of our mountains. And the idea of the pahu is that it's a container. Mana mana, that it's uprights. And fingers are mana mana. And so it's a container that has uprights in it. And if you look in a dictionary, it's a junction of something that is credited to umi. And so the idea of pahu mana mana gives you the idea that here is an instrument in our mountains that we know nothing about today. There's absolutely nothing written about the pahu mana mana. And a couple of years ago, the Hawaii Volcano National Park hired the Edith Kanakaʻole Foundation to do an interpretation of this structure. And this structure is found on their property on the slope of Mauna Loa at the 8,000 feet level. It's the southern slope of Mauna Loa, the 8,000 feet level. And so, because the Edith Kanakaʻole Foundation, did I tell you there was a family foundation? Well, it is. It's a family foundation on the island of Hawaii, and it's our family. And what we do is, our mission is to elevate Hawaiian intelligence. Okay? And so we look at all of these spaces around us and the environment around us, and that's what we study. And so the idea of the pahu mana mana is that an instrument that gives us a sense of time and it locates something, but it is a junction, but it's a junction of what? And so here's an instrument that has absolutely no written material on it. And so what we need to do in order to find it or interpret it is go in front of it and sit for a long time. We've studied the mana manas that's on our island, as well as the pahu mana manas that's on an island that's northwest of us. And we studied it for 12 years, 15 years actually. But we didn't get as much information out of the one that we studied up north as we got from this one that we had on our particular island. And so the National Park wanted it studied and interpreted before Mauna Loa erupts and covers the site. And so we started the research in 2016, and we finished it the beginning of this year. And as I said, this is really old Hawaiian knowledge that we have no idea about. We just see this thing standing. So what is this? It's a little challenge for us. I wanted to give you a little background on this picture that's up here. This is a picture of the summer solstice, the morning of the summer solstice, from that 8,000 feet elevation. And what we see in this picture is that the moon has already risen in the eastern sky. This is Venus, it has written, and this particular constellation is the Pleiades, or what we call the Makali'i. And the Pleiades on the Makali'i is on the Tropic of Cancer. And so this is our northern boundary for our sun. And the sun comes up north, and then it hits the Pleiades or the Tropic of Cancer. Then it bounces back down to the south. And so because it's rising on the summer solstice, the sun is going to rise in its path on this particular day. And this is part of our study as well. This is a map of the whole archipelago. And so we're starting with, we're looking at the Kura Atoll. And then we come all the way down. And here we see, in the middle of it, we see an island that's called Moku Manamana. And it's like the Pahu Manamana. And then it comes all the way down to our island of Hawaii, the island that I live on. And these islands right here are volcanic. And those islands to the north of us are not volcanic. And so this is where the volcano begins, and this is where some of our volcanic chants actually begin. But I wanted to note this because the Moku Manamana actually sits on the Tropic of Cancer. And so it has a lot of these instruments that I was just talking about on that little island. And so people have been using the island for many generations. So what the island has, it's a name that actually tells what its function is. Okay, I wanted you to also note the name of the island right under it. We have a whole chant that talks about the movement of the island from Moku Manamana all the way down to Hawaii, and I'm going to do a part of the chant as our closing. Okay. I'm not sure what one to press, this one or that one. Okay, this is a picture of Moku Manamana, and this is the island that's in the, that's right there. Oh, I'm getting good at this. And we want to look at that pool because this is the westernmost and this is the easternmost. All the names that you see are sun names. They have to do with the sun. And it's a very difficult island to climb, but we have to climb it in order for us to actually study the Pahu Manamanas that's sitting on the island. This is one of the Pahu Manamanas that's sitting on the island, and it's sitting in the westernmost part of the island. And so it's actually a perfect compass. So it's stretched out this way. The left arm of the Pahu Manamana is facing straight north to the North Star. The right arm faces to the Southern Cross. And the Makali'i, or the Pleiades, rises straight ahead of it and set behind it. Okay, and so that's where it's located on land, and the Makali'i, or the Pleiades, is located in the sky. What this is going to do is bring all of that together. This is the Pahu Manamana that we're studying. Say Pahu Manamana again. Okay, great. This is the junction that we're studying, the Pahu Manamana. And it has three parts. One is the small stone wall that you see on the bottom, and that's called a pai pai. Say pai pai. And the uprights, or the fingers, are called manamana. Thank you. And the little group of rocks in front of here is called panana. Panana are your compass rocks to each of the uprights. There's actually 7 that we count. There's another that fell down, so there's actually 8 uprights to this. Now, our dilemma, because there's no written material on this, is to actually come up here and sit in front of it and find out what it's all about before we can begin to write about it. And the big hint is that it's called Pahu Manamana o Umi. So we know that it existed in that time of Umi, and he was the chief that is noted for building a lot of the Pahu Manamanas on the island, on our island. This is the methodology in which it was done. The Hawaii Volcano National Park wanted it to be done in a certain way, so they asked for this particular method for it to be done. And the method is known as Papaku Makavalu. And they've seen us use this particular method before. So they wanted this particular site to be interpreted in that way. And the method comes from the Kumulipo, and the Kumulipo is a very old genealogical chant. And when I read that chant, I don't know, when I was 40, which was 80 years ago. No, really, I'm 120. When I read that chant that long ago, it was just Greek to me. And, but that is a most intelligent chant I've ever read. Now that I've lived this long and I've been able to break it down. But that's not what I'm going to talk about. Okay, but in this chant, there's this method of how the females actually break down their whole universe. These are really smart females. Hawaiians had smart females, I have to tell you that. So. Okay. How the females actually broke down their whole universe into 3 sections. The first section is Papahulilani. And when you have a word like lani in it, can you say Papahulilani? When you have a word like lani in it, it tells you that it's looking at the space above your head. So all of this space from here up is part of the lani. And so it's a study of the sun, the moon, the stars, weather systems, clouds, movement of clouds, raindrops, whatever else you have out there. It's that study of that particular space. And the 2 names that you see under that are the 2 people that actually did that particular study. The next is Papahuli Honua. Can you say Papahuli Honua? Honua is the earth itself, and this is a study of the earth, which is the saltwater lens, basal lens, the basal lens, the freshwater lens, the saltwater lens, water, and the volcanism, currents, soil, mountains, the rocks that are made by the volcano. It's all part of the Papahuli Honua study. And so the one person that you saw there who is earning her PhD in it is the one that was responsible for the information that we got from there. The other is Papahanaumoku. Say Papahanaumoku. Oh, you'll be so good Hawaiian language speakers before you leave this afternoon. You have to leave by this afternoon. But you'll be great speakers. Papahanaumoku is a study of all of those things that go through a regenerative cycle. So it can be a termite, it can be a butterfly, it can be a man and woman, it can be the trees, it can be the spawning seasons, it can be birds, et cetera, et cetera. All of those that go through that cycle. So this is the way they divided their universe. And their intelligentsias chose either to study one or the other or the other. Okay? And so that's the way we broke this with this particular study down in this particular fashion. This is kind of the short results of what we got from it. The result is that the Pahu Manamana is really a stellar instrument. So in order for us to get anything out of it, we have to go at 8,000 feet elevation and watch the stars set on it. And then what we got from it as far as the Papahuli Honua is that they're really studying the movement of magma. This particular instrument is built on the apex of 2 lava tubes, and it's built on a live volcano. And so they're studying the movement of magma, also the movement of islands. They're very curious about that. And then the Papahanaumoku decided to study the intelligentsia of the chief that actually is given credit for all of this. So looking at Umi, looking at his history, what he's done, who he's done it with, etc. Okay, so this is us sitting at night, watching all the stars set. As we're facing it, this is the front, and the back of the Pahu Manamana is facing northwest, which means that it is really looking at all of the archipelago, the islands in the archipelago. Okay, and so you see the North Star over there, that's Kumau, is one of the names for the North Star. And the star, that constellation that is setting, we're looking at the north sky and the setting of the stars from the north sky. So the constellation that is setting is Nahiku, and Nahiku is the Big Dipper. So you sit out there and you watch all of the constellations set on this particular instrument, and you make notes of what is setting, what time it's setting, and then you have your compass with you. You're sitting at the Panana and measuring the alignment from your Panana to the Manamana, and then you're going to take it all the way out. Okay. So one of the things we did was to color code the Manamanas. And the color codes of the Manamanas is, as you see here, red for number 1, yellow, green, blue, et cetera, et cetera. You know your colors by now. You've all passed kindergarten. And I used to teach kindergarten as well as college. I really love kindergarten. You can teach them a lot because they know nothing. And 18-year-olds think they know everything, when we know they know nothing. Okay. Okay, so this is kind of how we jotted it down initially. So if you look at this, this is the color codes for Manamana 1, Manamana 2, Manamana 3, etc. And the compass point on that is 300. So if you look down this way, each Manamana is about 5 degrees from each other. And so if you take it out this way, the Manamana 1 is pointing out to the island of Mokumanamana. So we use different compasses to accomplish that. It points out to Mokumanamana, and one of the stars that's close to it that's setting is Makali'i. And so we have a whole sheet of this. This is just sort of one of the sheets. So this is all of the stars that's setting on the places. These are all of the islands that it's aligned with. These are all of the craters that it is aligned with. Okay? And these are some of the other stars that's close to it. Okay, and looking at it from a different point of view, from actually taking the alignment out towards the different islands, because that's where the Pahu Manamana is actually pointing to. So if we look at, this is number 7. And number 7 is purple, and it goes through Kaho'olawe, and that part of Kaho'olawe has a very large crater, and it's called Pualani, and the crater has fallen down into the island. And then it goes across to the island of Molokai, and there's a peninsula on the island of Molokai which has a crater as well, but it's a newer crater for that island. If we look at this particular one, it goes over the crater of this particular island, which is called Lana'ihale, and across to an older crater on the island of Molokai, which is called Mauna Loa. And if we look at this light blue one, which is, I think it was 1, 2, 3, 4, the fourth manamana, oh, here it is, hello. The fourth manamana, it crosses over Leahi, and Leahi is, what is Leahi? Diamond Head. I forgot. Leahi is Diamond Head. Well, I'm old, I'm 120. Leahi is Diamond Head. It also crosses over Aliapa'akai, which is another crater that's just Mauka or upland of the Honolulu International Airport. And it crosses over these two volcanoes, which is really older land sites. The next one crosses over Makapu'u, and Makapu'u is the easternmost point of this island, which is also a volcano, and Mokapu, which is also a volcano. And so what that told us is they are tracking volcanoes, and they are concerned about where the movement of the island is going and where the next island is going to emerge out of the ocean. And so when we looked at the Pahu Manamana on Moku Manamana, the island way out about 600, 800 miles up, and it was actually a perfect compass. So you have north, south, east, and west. And as we look into our compass, our Pahu Manamana is pointed to the south, and the North Star is back here, and like this. And so this is the way that the islands have moved. And so this is old knowledge that we knew nothing about last year. And so we know a lot about it this year. And so we have to go back to, we went back to Moku Manamana on the solstice on a big ship and studied, again, restudied some of the Pahu Manamanas there. And it's our interest and our passion to know what our ancestors knew about their place. And so the message to me is it doesn't matter whether it's written, as long as you have a structure that is antique, that's been there for generations, that you know that your ancestors have built. It's your responsibility to study it. Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.